Hello, good morning everyone. I'm again your teacher for today, Teacher Shelly, for our 17th week, day 1. And since today is Monday, again, we will start our week with our maritime English lesson. So, since we will start again with our types of vessels, we will be discussing about different types of vessels. Okay. So in a few minutes or no, in a few seconds we will start. Okay. So, okay. So this is now our topic for today. All right. So, this is all about oil tanker vessels. All right. So this will be different types. There is anatomy, and there is different characteristics of each type. Okay. And so as you can see here, this is the crude oil tanker. Okay. So when we say a crude oil, this is an unrefined petroleum used for processing of the different types of oil or petroleum. Okay, so as we go on, I will discuss this one by one. All right, so this is an example of a crude oil tanker. And for the next is an example of a product tanker. Product tanker. All right. First, I will show you the pictures. Okay, and later for their characteristics and for the different parts of this. Okay, so we also have a VLCC, which means a very large crude carrier. Okay, that's what VLCC means. Very large crude carrier. Okay. So, next, it's an LNG tanker, meaning it's a liquefied natural gas. Okay? This is an LNG tanker or carrier. Okay. So, next, all right. So one by one, I will discuss what is what are those types of tankers. Okay. So what is an oil tanker? Okay. So an oil tanker is also known as a petroleum tanker. Okay. So this specializes or this ship is designed for bulk, okay, large bulk transport of oil or its product. Okay. Now it says here that it is designed to transport liquid petroleum in bulk in large um, varieties or large products. Okay, so yeah, so when we say petroleum, it is a naturally occurring liquid, meaning this is a liquid like a water, okay, which is found under the earth's surface. Okay, now, so this type of liquid, this petroleum, is purified or is refined to produce fuels. Okay? What are those? What are those fuels? fuels, okay? Like the gasoline we're using for our cars, okay? And not just like for the cars, also for the ship itself, okay? The diesel, okay? And for the jet fuel, for the airplane, okay? And like also other products like plastics. So could you just imagine that petroleum is very important, okay? It's essential to everybody because we use this one, all right, in our day-to-day life. And this one is purified or refined, okay? Because this petroleum is, as I said, it's found under the earth's surface, okay? And you cannot just use this right away. You have to you have to refine it first, okay? In order for the companies or the or the refining companies to produce a gas, a diesel, and a jet fuel, and other products like plastics. Okay? So, also, oil tankers, oil tankers are also vessels that are essential or has a critical part for the entire world, okay, because of the energy supply, okay. So yeah, so these are the examples of fuels, okay. The jet fuel wherein we use this one, um we use this in the airplane, and for the gas for our cars, for our vehicles, different types of cars, trucks, and even the ships, okay, the diesel, okay, and the fuel oil and this naphtha, okay. When you say naphtha, um, this is a group of uh, flammable liquid, okay? Flammable liquid, which is a mixture made from oil, natural gas, and even coal, okay? This naphtha, this is a flammable liquid, okay? Now, just think of something that when you boil crude oil, so there's a different liquids that turn into vapor. Like for example, just imagine a boiling water, all right? So when it's boiling, there's a vapor, okay, that evaporates, okay. We like in a different temperatures. So this naphtha is one of those liquids, okay, that boils at a temperature between the gasoline and the kerosene. Okay, so that is what a naphtha example or a fuel, naphtha fuel. Okay, so right. So, what do you think is the purpose of this oil tanker in our lives? Well, basically, this type of oil tanker, it transports crude oil and they purify the products and they will transport it to different places, okay, across the ocean. Okay, so this one is a carrier. That's why it's called oil tanker carrier. They are responsible for the transporting of the crude oil, and they will refine it, they will purify it, and then they will bring that to different places. Okay? So that's the purpose of our oil tankers. And yeah, this is what I mentioned excuse me, earlier that this is it has a critical role in the world because it supplies energy to different parts of the world. That's why it's important. Okay? The oil tanker vessels or carrier. Yes. So, we have these types. Okay? Types of cargo. Okay? Meaning, what does oil tankers carry? Okay. Number one is crude oil. Okay, crude oil. As I mentioned, this is not a purified petroleum. Okay, not purified, unrefined petroleum because this crude oil is only used for processing. Okay, they will mix this crude oil to other petroleum, okay, so that the purpose of this is for processing. Okay, this is an unrefined, not pure petroleum. Okay, this is only used for mixing, okay, for other gases. Okay, now number two is what we call refined products or the pure products or the finished products. Okay, one is the gasoline. Of course, everyone knows this, a gasoline. Okay, when we run out of gas in our cars, okay, we go to the gas station, so we put on gasoline. Okay, so that is a pure product already. It's already processed, it's refined. And next is diesel. Okay, fuel and jet fuel. And we have fuel oil and naphtha. So these are the types of cargo that an oil tanker carries or transports. Okay? So, like for example, this is an oil. Alright? This one is a petroleum. Okay, maybe this is not yet refined or purified. And these are the refinery companies. Okay? So, global significance. Okay, meaning when we say global, it's the entire world, worldwide. When we say significance, why it is important. So, global significance. Why it is important? Because this is the backbone of the world's oil trade. Okay? That is the importance of an oil. Okay? And also the importance of all the types of oil tanker carriers. They are the backbone of the world's oil trade. When we say trade, the exchange of products. Okay? That's why it's called the backbone. Okay. Next. All right. So, the exchange of products, we have, of course, we follow the trade routes. Okay? Where they bring the or where they transport the products. Okay. For the major shipping routes for oil, we have example, of course, the Middle East, all right, to Asia, and also Middle East to Atlantic routes. Okay, those are the major shipping routes for oil. Of course, everyone knows that Middle East is the number one source of oil worldwide. So from there, it transports to Asia in order for the oil to reach us, like in your country, Korea, in Japan, in Vietnam, in Thailand, in the Philippines. All right? Okay. So that's what we call trade routes or two Atlantic routes. Okay. Next. Okay. We have these types of oil tankers according to its size. How big it is, how small it is, how heavy it is. Okay. Types of oil tankers. Okay. According to its size. So number one, we have here coastal tankers or we call it small tankers. This type of tanker, the coastal or small tankers, is about 40,000 deadweight. Okay? Uh, it weighs around 40,000. And the purpose of this or the use of these small or coastal tankers are it transports pure products just along and between small or smaller ports only. That's why it's called coastal small tankers. It's very small because it only weighs 40,000 dead weight already only. Okay? So it only transports from one place to another, coast to coast, or from a small port to another small port. Okay, that's what that's now our number one type of oil tanker, the coastal or small tankers. Okay, next. Oh yeah, I'm sure everyone is familiar with this. It's called Panamax. Okay, it's Panamax. Okay. Approximately, this is just heavier or bigger than the small or coastal tankers because this is approximately around 60,000 to 80,000 deadweight. Okay? And the size or the dimension of this only is limited by the original size of the Panama Canal locks. This one, okay? Panamax here. It can only fit, okay, the original size of the Panama Canal, okay? Here, that this is a Panamax. That's why it's called Panamax because it only fits the original size of the Panama Canal locks. Of course, this is also used for transporting crude oil. Yeah, purified and unpurified products or refined or unrefined products passing the Panama Canal. All right? That's why it's called Panamax type of oil tanker. All right. So next, we also have the third one, which is called Aframax. Of course, this is bigger than Panamax, okay? Because it is approximately 80 to 120,000 dead weight. Okay. This is a medium range crude oil that they transport. Okay, medium range of crude oil, medium range unrefined oil. okay, products, and it is transported through the regions with smaller ports only, okay, like the North Sea and for the Caribbean regions with small ports. Okay? Although they transport only through smaller ports, this is much bigger than the coastal and what we call smaller type of tanker. Okay? Because the smaller is only 40,000 and Aframax is 80,000. It's double its size to 120 dead weight. But only they transport in regions with smaller ports. Okay, although it's bigger, okay, they only transport medium range crude oil. Okay, so we have here the fourth type of oil tanker. We have Suez Max. They called it Suez Max. So again, we have number one is small or coastal. Second is Panamax. Third is Aframax. And the fourth is Suezmax. Alright. This is the Max. Around approximately 120 to 200 dead weight. Alright. So, the size of this is limited only by the Suez Canal. Okay? The other one is only limited that fits in um, through Panamax Canal locks. But this one, if it happens to pass through that canal, that Panamax Canal, that Panama Canal, it could not be because this is bigger than the Panamax Canal. Okay, I am sorry, this is bigger than the Panamax type of carrier. Okay, so also the use of this is to transport again a crude oil. Okay, most especially between Middle East and Europe. This type of oil tanker. Okay, heavy. This is heavy. It's 120 to 220 dead weight. Okay. All right. The fifth type of oil tanker. Here we have a very large crude carrier, or simply they call it a VLCC. Okay, I'm sure you heard it already. This word, this type of oil tanker, the VLCC, a very large crude carrier. Okay, this is approximately 200 to 320 dead weight. Okay, now the purpose or the use of this is for a long haul transport of crude oil, okay, from Middle East to Asia, okay, and other distant markets. Okay? So when we say a long haul transport of crude oil, basically this is from the number one oil producer country, the Middle East. Okay? And it transports it to Asia to us. Okay? And of course, to other distant markets. Okay? Distant. Okay? That's why it's called a long haul or long travel or long voyage. Okay? And very large. Okay? Okay. So, since we have this very large, we still have a much bigger, the ultra large crude carrier or the ULCC. Okay. The VLCC, the dead weight approximately is 200 to 320. And for the ultra is 320 or more, I guess, for the dead weight. All right. And the use of this is um, also for a long haul crude oil transport. But this one is already the largest oil tanker, the Ultra. Okay? And you cannot just transport this one in a shallow water ports. Okay? You cannot because it's so heavy. Because of its weight, the dead weight is 320. So, it requires a deep water ports and offshore terminals. A deep water ports. Okay? Ultra large crude carrier. Alright? So, okay. For the number 7. Okay. This is what we call a product tankers. Okay? So, as for number 1, we have the coastal and what we call coastal or small tankers. Now, this is much smaller than that type of oil tanker because the dead weight of this is only 75. Okay? 75. No, no, no. I'm sorry. This is not much smaller than the coastal or small tankers. This is the second, okay? The second type, the product tankers. So, for number 1, we have the small or coastal tanker. And then this one, the product tankers. And then number 3 is the Panamax. And for number 4, we have Anframax. And for number 5, we have the VLCC. All right. And for number 6, we have the Ultra. Yes. Did I forget something? Wait. Let me. Oh, yeah. I forgot to mention the Suez Max. After the Panamax, we have the Suez Max. Okay. And we have this VLCC and ULCC. Okay. So again, don't be confused. I'm so sorry for the ano. All right. For we have this number 1, the small or coastal tanker. Okay. Now for number 2, we have this, the product tankers. All right. Excuse me. And then for number 3, we have this Panamax type of tanker. And we have this Anfa Max. Anframax. I'm sorry. And we have the Suez Max. And we have the number 6 is the VLCC, the very large crude oil. And lastly, the largest, the ultra large crude carrier. So, all right. So, For the product tankers, okay, they carry or they transport only a refined or a purified petroleum products. Okay? They only carry a purified or a refined petroleum products. What are those? The gasoline, the diesel, the jet fuel, and the naphtha. Okay? So, and it also transports from one refinery to the consumer markets. Okay? This is what we call, that is why it's called a product tankers. A pure petroleum, a refined petroleum. Okay? That's what they transport from the refinery and to us, the consumer markets. Okay? And we have these chemical tankers. All right. This is a special type, okay? When we say chemical tankers, this is designed to transport a variety of liquid chemicals in bulk. They transport this type, these chemical tankers. They also, of course, transport uh, liquid chemicals in bulk. Okay, and this is designed only for that type of product. Okay, now take note, for example, number one. This, as I said earlier, that this is a different type or different kind of oil tanker. This is a special type. Why? Because it carries chemical of different types. Okay, these cargo tanks has a specialized coatings. Okay, the coatings of everything in here is stainless steel. Okay, it's a stainless steel coatings. Okay, they have this sophisticated piping system, or they have this something that is very different from other pipes. Okay, this one, and they have this stringent safety measures. Okay, stringent. When we say stringent, uh, they are they have their own rules in this type of uh, oil tanker, the chemical tankers. They have this strict, okay? They have this demanding rule for everyone on board, okay? That is for their safety, of course, okay? And that rule is not flexible. It's a strict rule for them to follow carefully, and it should be in a precise manner. That's why it's very strict. It's stringent. Their stringent safety measures is really different. Okay? They have to be very strict in following the safety measures of this type of vessel or chemical oil tanker. Could you just imagine? They are made of stainless steel coatings. Okay, they have this sophisticated piping system, and they have their own rule to follow, a very strict rule to follow, okay, for this type of tanker, for of course their safety. All right. So yeah, those I mentioned, I think there are eight. Yeah, there are eight. Those I mentioned are the types of oil tankers based on their size. Okay, they are based on their size, and we have this type of tankers, which is classified now by its design or their specialization. Okay, for number one, we have what we call a single hull tankers. Okay, single hull. So when we say single, of course, they only have one single. Okay, like if you're single, you don't have a wife, you don't have a girlfriend. That's why you are called single in status. You're only one, you're solo. So when we say single hull tankers, it has only one protective layer here, okay, between the cargo inside of this and the sea. Okay, you only have a single protective layer. Could you just imagine, everyone, if there's an accident, okay, since you only have a single protective layer, right away the water comes in, right? If there's a hole, okay, and your voyage is long, so it's a high, you have a high tendency, or it's you're at risk. Okay, I don't know if there's still this type of tankers nowadays, but I guess it's already implemented that it should not be like this with a single hull. Maybe if it's only near, like for example, the ports are only near from each other, or yeah, you can use a single hull. But for long voyage, it cannot be. It's risky. Yeah, it says here that higher risk of oil spills in case of accidents. Yes, this is very true. Higher risk of oil spills, not only oil spills, but the safety of everyone also in case of accidents. And it says that regulations, yeah, they're already phasing out this type of hull, the single hull tankers. They are already phasing out this one. Number one is for their safety, of course. Number two is for the environmental protection for our environment. Yeah, for the single hull. Okay. Now, another. Yes, double. The double hull tankers. Okay. They have two. When we say double, of course, we have two. You have two protective layers. Okay. Between the cargo inside of this and the sea. Yes, making it much safer, okay, and less likely to cause pollution or oil spills in case of accidents. Okay, even just for a small accidents, it can lessen if you have a double hull tankers type. Okay, yes, it reduces risk of oil spills and it increased structural strength, of course. Yeah. So this is now the standard for new tanker construction. So the new ships now are built with a double hull already. Okay. So as mentioned earlier, the single hull tankers, they are now phased out, or The building of ships is already not allowed with a single hull tankers. With a single hull layer. Okay. So now the standard for new tanker construction is double hull for, of course, everyone's safety. And we have here shuttle tankers. This is according to classification, everyone. This is not according to size. This is according to its classification. The types of cargo, the types of oil tankers as classified with its design and the standards. Okay? So one is single hull, second is double hull, and now is the shuttle tankers. Okay. Yeah. Just imagine, just think of this is a special type of a ship, like what they call the special taxi ship. Okay? That regularly travels between an offshore oil production, offshore offshore oil production site, and a place to store or transport the oil further. All right. So for example, if you are riding a taxi, you came from this hotel and then you're going to a park, all right, or to a mall. Okay. From the hotel, you will be transported to the mall. Okay. Regularly. If the or to the office. Okay, okay. Let's say for example, another. Okay, let me rephrase it. You are traveling from your house, okay, to your office. Okay? So, you're traveling through a taxi or a Grab car. Okay. So, from your house to your office regularly, okay, that's what a shuttle tanker's classification. Okay? This shuttle tanker is like a special Grab vessel or Grab taxi. Okay? Or this is a special taxi ship that regularly travels, okay, from an offshore production site to a place, okay, wherein they will transport the oil. Okay? So from the offshore to the store or to transport it to an oil um an oil what do you call this production. Okay, it travels regularly. Okay, and then go back to the offshore site production and then to the store or to the other place. So that's why it's called shuttle regularly. Okay, and this is also uh, used from transporting an oil from a remote ocean location. Okay, shuttle tankers. All right. So we also have as classified as the floating production, storage, and offloading type of vessels. FPSO. Okay? A floating production, storage, and offloading. Okay, let's uh let's discuss it one by one. This is a ship, excuse me, that stays out at sea. Okay? Now, it takes oil from underwater, wherein that oil is stored under the sea. Yes, we have oil under the sea. And then there's something, or there's a what you call a an equipment that will suction that oil underneath, okay, under the water, and excuse, then loads it onto other ships, okay, to be transported. All right. So the oil underneath or beneath the water, okay, it uses an equipment to suction that oil, and then they will load it onto the other ship. And then this one will transport the oil to other ports or to other ships. Okay? That is why it's called a floating. This one, floating production storage. Okay, this one. And offloading because it loads to the other vessel. That's why it's called floating production storage and offloading vessels. Okay, more. Why it's called floating production? Yes, this is what I mentioned earlier. It has an equipment on it, this floating production. Okay? To take the oil and gas out of the ground under the sea. Yes. Okay? And it's like a mini oil rig, but it can move. Okay. It can move this one. That's why it's called floating. They move from one place to another wherein they can find an oil underneath or beneath the sea. Okay? All right. So that's why it's called a floating production. All right. And why it's called storage? Yes, it has a big tanks built into its hull here. All right, there's a big tank here, okay, where it can store oil after they suction it beneath. Okay, now think of it as a floating oil depot, a floating storage. Okay, the other one, uh, it's called the floating production. Why? Because they produce oil using that equipment to suction the oil underneath the water, and they will store it in the hull. Here, there's a huge tank over here. Okay? Did everyone understand why the floating production, storage, and offloading classification type classified as this FPSO? Because of that process. And offloading, all right, it has systems. Yes, pump, okay? They will pump out the stored oil here in the hull to and to another or unto other ship. Okay? Like example of that shuttle tanker that that I mentioned earlier. Okay? And then this shuttle or this product tanker will then transport it to land. That's why it's like a floating transfer station. All right? Did everyone understand the meaning of floating, production, storage, and offloading? Okay? That's what it means. Floating because it's floating in the water. Why production storage? Because they uses this type of vessel uses an equipment to suction the oil under the sea, under the water, and they will store it in a very large hull. And then that's the time they will pump out the oil, the stored oil, onto other ship like the shuttle or the product tanker. Once it's in here or once the oil is already pumped out from here to here, then this one, the shuttle tanker or this product tanker will then transport, okay, it to different ports, okay? And this one is called like a floating transfer station, okay? Right, okay. We have here this LNG tankers, okay? We have here these LNG tankers, okay? When we say LNG, this is a liquefied natural gas. Okay? LNG means a liquefied natural gas type of tanker that carries, okay, a natural gas, a liquefied natural gas at cryogenic temperatures. Okay? At a cryogenic temperatures. Now, when we say cryogenic temperature, this is an extremely cold temperature. Okay? Very cold, extremely cold. This is even much, much, much colder than our freezers at home. Yeah. And it's, imagine everyone that this is negative 150 degrees Celsius, this cryogenic temperature, or a negative 238 degree Fahrenheit. And its coldness is really of different level. Really, it's different. Okay. This LNG, think of something that, think of a gas, okay, that hits your home or our food, the food that we eat. Okay? Now, In order to, excuse me, in order to move large amounts of this natural gas across the ocean, we have to use this type of tanker, the LNG. You cannot just use the ordinary type of tankers. No, it cannot be. Okay? This is an LNG tanker, this one. Okay? Now, when the gas or that gas is cooled down, okay? Now, there's so much of that gas that turns into a liquid, okay? So if this natural gas cools down because it's in a cryogenic temperature, there's a certain liquid that is produced in here in that, and that is what we call the liquefied natural gas. Okay? All right? So there's a this is a gas, of course, that once it's cooled down to that level of temperature, that cryogenic temperature, okay, there's a certain liquid that is produced in that, on that, and that is what we call the liquefied natural gas. Okay, that's what an LNG tankers carry. This one. Okay, so yes, this one. This is a type of LNG tanker. Okay. The ones stored here are liquefied natural gas here. Okay. And this tank is in a cryogenic temperature. It's very cold. Okay. And in order for them to produce a liquefied natural gas, it should be cooled down up to that level, negative 150 degrees Celsius or negative 238 degree Fahrenheit. Yes, it is a ship that carries natural gas that has been turned into a very cold liquid. So it can be transported over long distances by sea. Yes, that's also part of preserving that gas because it's transport, even if you will transport it into a very long distances by sea, it can still be preserved. That LNG, liquefied natural gas. Okay? Oh yeah. This is like a giant thermos bottle. Okay? Your jug. Can you just imagine that insulated giant jug, the big jug you have? Okay? This is like that one, the LNG tanker. Yes, during its journey. So you just imagine, okay, you have this thermos, a giant thermos bottle with a special insulation inside. This is what an LNG tanker also look like. Okay, so that's LNG. So we have another. Yeah, it's like also a refrigerated truck of natural gas on the ocean. It carries a super cold liquid gas safely. Yes, in order for that gas to be preserved or to be safe, okay, you have to store it in a very cold temperature. All right. Yeah. If you have this LNG, we also have this LPG, which means a liquefied petroleum gas. Okay? This is also a special type of ship that is built, this one, to carry a liquid petroleum gas like propane, and butane. The one we use for our samgyeopsal, everyone, yeah, that type of gas is carried by this type of tanker. They transport it using this type of tanker in order for that butane to reach us. For example, for us here in Asia, okay, in order for us to cook a samgyeopsal, right? So we need this butane type of gas, okay, that is transported using this type of tanker, the LPG tanker, the liquid petroleum gas tanker. Okay? Yeah. So if we have that type or classification, we also have this combination. Okay? We call it combination carriers. Okay? Or the OBO. Or it's called oil. We have bulk. We have ore carriers. Okay? This is designed to transport three different types of cargo. So in one vessel, there's three different types of cargo. Not just like purely oil, but it has oil, bulk, or ore carrier. Okay? Now, this is like a special truck, okay, that can be reconfigured to carry gasoline, okay, in one way, and then they will switch to hauling grain, which is bulk, considered as bulk. And next, maybe they will carry an ore or iron rocks after. Okay? So, through this type of carrier, oil carrier, it makes the shipping more easier or more efficient. Okay? So, in this type of oil tanker, the combination carriers or oil bulk or ore carriers, okay, it makes the shipping more faster, or it makes it more efficient. Okay, could you just imagine there's an oil, and then after that there's a bulk cargo like the grain, corn, and then there is an ore after, or like the iron, like iron rocks. Okay, so imagine that it's so convenient, right? It's so the transportation or the shipment or the shipping cargo, it will be more easier or efficient. Okay. Yes, it says here that it can carry liquid oil, loose dry goods, and raw minerals, making it a flexible cargo carrier. Yes, it's true. Yeah. All right. We also have here a biofuel tankers. This one. Okay. It carries biofuels like corn, like soybean, like palm oil, and ethanol. Okay. Though these are all biofuel cargoes. Okay. All right. This ship carries liquid fuels. Yes, made from plants or animals. across the ocean. So that once the tanker carries fuels, liquid fuels made from the plants or animals, they will use or they will transport it using the biofuel tanker type of vessel. Okay? And next, yes, this because these fuels can be used to power our cars. Okay? Basically, our cars, the trucks, and even other ships. Okay? So, this is also very important. Biofuel tankers, they only carry these products coming from the plants, coming from the animals, like the corn, soybean, palm oil, and ethanol. Okay? Because these biofuels are basically used for our cars, to power our cars, the different trucks, of course, and other ships. Okay? So, that's what the different types of tanker oils based on their structures and their classifications. Okay, so did everyone have now idea what are the different parts of different types of vessels? So I hope uh, you had this background about it. All right. So we will now go to parts of an oil. Okay. Parts of an oil tanker vessels. We will now go to the anatomy, like parts of the human. Like we have the head, we have the body, we have the extremities. Okay, there is a lot of parts of the human. This is like an example also for the parts of an oil tanker. Okay? Now, let's have a brief idea. Okay. Of course, there is a hull structure. Okay. So when we say a hull structure, this is the outer shell of the ship. The outer body, this one, the outer body. Okay, that is the hull, which provides, wherein it should be watertight, of course, for an stronger, okay, structure, okay, of the vessel. It should be watertight. Okay, the hull structure. We have discussed, we have a single hull, we have a double hull. But nowadays, building of new ships are required that it should be double hull. Okay, it should have a double hull structure. Okay, wherein because this is the outer shell part, the outer layer of the ship, which is the very important reason is should be watertight. Okay, we have the bow. This one, the bow, the front of the ship. Okay, the bow part. This is the anchor. And the stern. This is the stern. Okay, the stern part. The back or rear part of the ship. This one. Wherein the propeller, this one, and the rudder is located. Okay? The back part or the rear part of the ship. Propeller, the rudder. Okay. So, yes, this is the propeller, the one that is uh, the one responsible for the propulsion or the moving direction, the moving movement of the ship, the moving forward movement of the ship. So when we say propeller, that is the primary means of propulsion. When we say propulsion, this is a method or the system that is used to create the movement. Okay? The movement that was created to move forward or to move or to push ahead. Okay? That is the purpose of propeller. And the rudder controls the ship's direction. Yes, this one controls the ship's direction. Okay? And of course, it depends on the navigating officer. Okay? So, we have also here what we call superstructure. Okay. When we say superstructure, parts of the vessels, part of the tanker, we are in already in the parts of the tanker, okay? So when we say superstructure, this houses the crew accommodation, okay? Wherein the crew sleeps or stays, okay? And we also have this navigation bridge. The bridge, this one. This is the bridge, okay? And other essential facilities like the radar, okay, the steering wheel, your computers, okay? That is what we call the superstructure part. This one, okay? This is the superstructure. This one is the accommodation, maybe, okay? Or the galley is there also. And this is the navigation bridge. Okay? Now, next. Superstructure is also typically located at the stern of the ship, at the back portion, for the oil tankers. Okay? This is located at the back part. Okay? In order to maximize the spaces in front, okay, for the cargo space. Okay? That's why the superstructure is located at the back or at the stern part of the ship. Alright. And, of course, the deck part. You have the deck part, which is the uppermost, okay, continuous deck of the ship. Okay? This is what we call the bridge wings. This one. Okay? This is the bridge wings. And this is the deck part. The uppermost continuous deck of the ship. Okay? Yeah. The equipment for mooring is there. It's located there. The winches, the anchors. This is the winch. These are the winch. Okay? This is a strong um, strong part. It should be strong. That helps to pull or lift heavy rope or this one cable. Okay, this one is the winch. This is the anchor, and it is located on the deck part. Okay, we have here the cargo tanks. Yes, cargo tanks. Okay, this is the heart of the operation. Okay, this is the heart of the operation. These are the compartments designed to carry liquid cargo in bulk. This one, the cargo tanks. Okay, some of these are not on top; it's below the below part of the vessel, the cargo tanks. This is the heart of the operation. Of course, this is where you put your cargoes, the gas, the oil, your the biofuels. Okay, this is where you put. That's why it's called the heart of the operation. Okay. Now, this is also a piping system. These are all pipes. Okay. This is a network of pipes for loading, for discharging, and for transferring cargo here. Okay. These are all, this part is responsible for that, the piping system. Okay, there should be no leaks. Okay, all the products passes through here. Okay, for discharging, that's for loading, and for transferring it to other cargo truck, vessel. Okay, so this is the pumping system. You know what? This is very essential. This is very important for an efficient, for a faster loading and discharging of cargo. This is very important. Actually, all of the parts of the tanker are essentials. Okay, they are all essential to for loading, for unloading. Okay, of cargoes. They are all essential. They are all important. And another, the ballast tanks. Yeah, the ballast tanks. This one, this one, and it comes out here. Yes, this ballast tanks is very important also to make sure the stability of the vessel, the stability, of course, of the cargo. Okay? Yeah, this is what we call the stern. Okay, the bow part. Yes, this is the cargo hold. Yes, and this is the trunk. Okay, this one. So, there is still a tank beneath that cargo hold where the water is stored to have a stable, to stabilize. Okay? These are the compartments used to carry ballast water for stability and trim. Yes, this is very correct. The ballast tanks, aside from the cargo tanks, we also have a ballast tanks that is beneath, okay, the cargo hold. Okay. This one is used to stabilize the vessel or the ship. Okay, to stabilize. If there's a swell, okay, they stabilize the vessel, the ballast. They will pump in water here, and then if it's too heavy, or maybe if it's okay for I don't have really that much idea with regards to this, but as per my understanding, yes, the water pumps, it pumps in here, and then to stabilize the vessel, and then there's a time that they will pump out the water. Okay, I don't know what where how they do that, but that's the process. Okay, for as long as there's a water inside to stabilize. Now it's for the, I think this is the role of a chief officer. Yeah, okay, that's his number one job description. This one for the stream and stability. Okay, of the vessel. Of course, for the safety of everyone and for the cargo and for the vessel itself. Okay, that is very important. Okay, yeah, it's your compartments used to carry. Yeah, we have here the discharge of water. Okay, and the environment. So, a source port. So, they pump in water. Okay, and then here, there's no water already. Okay, during voyage. Okay, so here also, they pump out water at a destination port, and then during the voyage, they pump in water. All right. So this is related actually uh, with regards to how heavy the cargo that is loaded in a vessel, in a ship. It really depends. That's why there's a computation about that. And that is the job of the chief officer. He is the one responsible for the stability. Okay? So the role of a chief officer is a really that big, because the safety of everyone is in there, in his hands. All right? So that's the ballast tank. Oh wow, we're done. Oh my. So we're now done with our number one type of vessel, which is the oil tanker. We discussed about the uses of this, the classification, the purpose of this, and they have the different parts, the different classification according to its size, where they will be transported. Okay, so I hope everyone had this a little idea about that type of oil tanker. Okay, now for our next lesson on Wednesday, we will just continue about this another type of vessel. Okay, and then we'll have a short quiz for our next meeting. All right. So for now, you just go over the video for our type of vessel number one, which is the oil tanker. And I'll see you all. I'll see you all on Wednesday for our next lesson for the second type of our vessel. Okay, and it's about a bulk type of vessel. Okay, so for now, I'll have to go and just continue reading our or listening to our videos, and hope to see you all guys on Wednesday for our 17th week, day 2. All right, for our maritime English lesson. So for now, I'll have to say goodbye, and I hope you had a great time with me. Thank you for listening, and it's really my pleasure to have you all now. Okay, thank you again. This is Teacher Shelly signing off. Bye, everyone. See you all next week.